No barbecue for him in his first round. Waylander with 2 flashes and a defuse kit. Everybody else on Kevlar. That smoke lands on the site to give them more opportunities to plant the bomb undercover. Great flashbang though from the CT side. And there's a second one, delaying the advance. That's stopping Misfits from spreading around the site, containing them, making it easier for these frags to come in. But they are going backwards and forwards. 3-on-3 now as Blade tries to hold down short B.
Yeah, excellent job from Markloff. He stayed alive for so long, made it really difficult for Misfits to get onto that bomb plant as they wanted. And now the reinforcements from FlipSid is starting to take some good positions here. Waylander in the water. And now welded it also by Jungle, trying to rain down the fire here. Sick with the headshot. Waylander with 1 as well, but that is all that she wrote in this round. Misfits will, after a very laboured attack on that B bomb site, be able to get that good start, but now they have to defeat the force buy, and it's harder said than done, James, as we just witnessed more than once in the match we just had, Liquid versus FaZe.
Yeah, good focus towards the end there from Misfits, just on guns. It's not about the bomb plants at that point, but after winning the round by elimination, a quick bomb plant was made for that little bit extra money for the bomb plant. So good presence of mind to kick things off. Misfits now, who chose to start on the T side, will have 2 AKs, 2 MAC-10s, and a Galil. A reasonable amount of grenades. Just the 1 Molotov, though, which might be problematic should they head to the B bomb site later on. Blade will be alone in connector. Waylander making his way to see what's going on towards long. On the CT side, this is a force buy, but well, just as JDM in the previous match, will be leaving most of his money in the hole for an AWP later on.
Waylander's going to hear a lot of these stepping. That's one of the reasons why his position is very important. He will get taken down here, but the question is whether or not his teammates can rally towards that A-bomb site, because you really do want to just try to stack in this position as well. You've got an investment, it's not massive, but if you stack the wrong site, that's great. You can just save those guns. And Misfits, they will be barreling into this A site, and look how sorely out of position Markloff and C-Star. And they had an opportunity, they had the information from Waylander, who was the man in the toilets, who was hearing all the steps. He heard so many steps at A long, yet there was no rotation whatsoever from FlipSid. So just, you know, trying to play it casually, I suppose. Not trying to think about stacking. And now they're in a position where really the best argument is to play very cheeky exit frags or just saving altogether. And let's see if they're able to do that. Amanak is trying to get himself in position there to get some forward frags. Sean as well looking for those kills. Going up this ladder can be very dangerous, but he will be able to make it up there. Oh, this could be the double. And there's one. And the trade from Markloff.
For those of you in Go TV, I would recommend on the second half, going backwards, on the second half, watching this man here, Shazam. And the first half, I don't know much about Armanek and Deva Duvek, because we don't get to see Misfits play that often, because they're not quite yet at the top tier of Counter-Strike outside of the majors. In the first half, I think I'd suggest Sick. Where do you stand on Go TV pick stand?
No, I defer to you, James.
Marvellous. 2-0 for Misfits at present, and it's anti-eco time. Armanek quickly lurking outside B, keeping the CTs honest around Monster, but he's backed way off. And there is a stack towards the B bomb site. There are 4 players there for the CT side, and Blade is spotting around the toilet's position, not really trying to take an engagement for a kill, but just trying to get some information to rotate his team as necessary. But he has now backed off all the way towards the A site to see if anybody's coming towards long. And he would be correct, but will he get the information? Will there be the rotation?
I like this. It's a great anti-eco play. Again, you can see how they can keep their backs to the wall. It's very easy to trade for one another. They can maximize the use of their rifles. They minimize the pistols and their strengths. And they get onto a bomb site. And then that's it. That's all you need to do. Get that bomb down. Good approach here, using the utility. They're not using too much utility. They're keeping spaces open so that you can actually use the range of your guns.
I say no to getting the bomb down, because especially with how fast they're moving, it's a tricky site to clear. And I think at that point, with so much time on the clock, trying to plant the bomb could be a risk where you can just hold out with your guns and punish the CT for taking any unnecessary risks.
I mean, they have 5 alive and cleared the site, so they can plant the bomb.
Well, there's a smoke on the stairs, so you could have CTs running through the smoke. So they have over a minute on the clock.
Where's the cover, James? Where's the team play? Where's team play? Where's communication?
Well, we saw an overpass B, people jumping over the smoke in the previous match. So
I think you're just paranoid by all the UKPL you've been playing.
It's good to be paranoid. AWP onto World Edit. He saved for it. He got his Christmas present, but see if it'll be taken away. A fast play from Misfits, trying to break the first buy of the CT side. There are still 3 CTs though in the site, but they're blind, and Dev will take Markelov down. Sees can he hold things down for his team. He'll have to now because he's the only man in the B bomb site. Blade taking down as well. They stack the site flip side, but they've got not much to show for it. Waylander with 2 kills, and he's made this doable. 1 versus 2. Armanek's running around with a Mac 10, and Well Did It has an angle with the AWP, so all of a sudden this becomes doable.
Well Did It, one of the better nicknames. Being a dedicated AWP for the team for a very long time, and it's not an easy ask. And you don't really want to close the distance until you get that first frag, just leaping forwards. Oh god, that's not the best miss to make, but somehow gets another opportunity. Amanek cannot follow up. And now it's down to Shazam. He's got the Galil and catches World Edit, who was essentially just bunny hopping throughout that entire retake. It felt like he had so much airtime, and that will not work out for him. That looked quite awkward from both sides.
Yeah, Armanek probably doesn't know the recoil pattern of a Mac 10, which I think is reasonable, so he seemed to have lost it there.
It's no MP9, James.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know if World Edit was really giving himself the best chance to get a kill by just constantly jumping, but I guess he felt the time pressure and didn't put himself in the most ideal of situations. And neither is the score for FlipSid. 3 players now around a long position with Blade in the connector area. But again, it's all eyes on Misfits. They had I like the execute they had onto A on the previous anti-eco with the flashbangs and so on and so forth. Smoke grenades to take some angles away from FlipSid, but not give them too many opportunities to play around the smokes themselves. Misfits with the numbers game in the connector position, which can be tricky, but on this occasion it won't be. So we'll see if FlipSid can get anything out of this.
Choosing to stack towards the A side of the map indeed, and it's a good shout. I mean, they saw that Misfits wanted to run that anti-eco up the A-long position before, so stacking more players towards there this time does actually pan out here. You know, cheeky frag coming in, a couple in fact from the CT side. FlipSid doing a good amount of damage, and they've sort of slowed down the push here. Misfits have done made a good read. They've actually decided to divert themselves through connector into a B site, which they suspect is quite clear, and they're doing this with a good pace. And that is because they have made the read that is clear. And sometimes you see teams a bit too shy to go as fast as Misfits did, but they've done this perfectly. They're on the bomb site, the bomb's going to go down. Sure, Well Did It has an AK, but they don't have a defuse kit. How can they actually progress onto the site? All the smokes are up. This is perfect here for Misfits. Really good mid-round decision-making in a spot where things were not going well.
There goes the AK. Maybe it can be collected. Not sure where Well Did It was. They might want to save it at this point. Blade is making a run for it. There was an AK down on long, which you might be looking for. And I was going to say, I think some teams may get trapped around the toilets on the T side there because they know there's a rifle down in a long position and they may want to try and stop the CTs from getting it and lose the round in doing so. But Misfits chose to abandon, go with the advantages they had, i.e. the rotation of the CTs towards A, make their way into B, and success continues. In the meantime, Blade has made the best of the FlipSid losses, picked up an AWP, and Markelov did indeed collect that AK-47. So that will be a small boost to the FlipSid economy. They are at maximum loss bonus. They can buy regardless, but saving money is always good, especially in these situations.
The question is really whether or not FlipSid can figure out how to get the edge at the start of the round. If they can get something aggressive going, get an early kill, get that 5v4, fall back, and really test Misfits from that disadvantageous position. Misfits actually looking like they're going to go for a fast take here towards the sewage position and split through Monster as well. This could be quite devastating, the fast plays here. As soon as the buy comes out, can often catch the CT side off guard here. Will that be the case? That's a beautiful opening there from Sick. And it's Sean Gares now to make the march onto the site, but he will be taken down with no trade just yet as Sick starts to try to fill in the gaps here. Finds a gap through the smoke, in fact. And Misfits are in a good position here, but still need to plant the bomb.
As time continues to tick, the CT is getting to better positions, well then with an angle on the site. No smoke on the balcony this time. Shazam to trade. Sick will do one better, leaving Markelov in a 1 versus 3. If he sees Shazam, does he go for the kill there? He's got to find another player. Manages to get a 2K, and now they dance around the pillar. Dev has the information, but Markelov has the clutch. 3 headshots from him, and FlipSid make their way onto the scoreboard. That's where those 2 saved weapons in the previous round make a difference, because it allows them to spread their money. Only 1 player surviving is disastrous despite winning the round for FlipSid. But those 2, they basically had 2 almost full buys saved in the previous round, and that will make a difference here.
This clutch was awesome. I actually had, like, Markelov seemed to understand that Sick was behind him, which I thought that in him creeping through the smoke in that way, that would have been an oversight, but he knew, he had that sense for it. Really awesome stuff there to see a good start from Markelov. Wins the first big clutch here for FlipSid, but again, it could all go wrong, as you said. They lost so many players here. Their economy is on the brink of destruction, and Misfits are looking to test that here, trying to get quickly in towards the bomb side, putting lots of pressure on, but forced to slow down in the side of all these smokes. Good nade there onto Sick now. You can see that they realize that he's in this position by the sandbags. It's a common way to try to get a quick pick, put someone in a forward position there.
If we look at the fact that the CT side have 3 people in B at the moment, and that pretty much every buy round so far, Misfits have just done a brute force play into the B bomb site. I do wonder if Misfits are setting up FlipSid for later plays towards A, where they are over-invested in B. That said, it's a 5 versus 4 for the time being. It's a nice flash to force Markelov back, allows Sean Guest to move forward, but he doesn't get a kill, and now the bomb's been seen. So full rotation. Blade's here on his own for the time being. They've got to move forward, these Ts. Armanek with a crouch peek, and Blade will get taken down. Now they've got position, although the balcony is still open. Shazam's holding the angle, and he's also got the bomb.
Yeah, and it's actually not looking too bad here for Misfits after it really looked like they weren't going to get into the site, but World It might have a shot here. That could be what allows them to get back in. But they're not giving it to him. He's going to have to push forwards here and respect that Misfits are going to force him into that forward position. No need to necessarily challenge him here. Again, you might get a quick peek here for information from the Ts, but they don't really want to engage World at this distance. There's a miss, and that's the only chance World Edit realizes he's going to get with that AWP, so he'll have to back away. And yeah, I think you're right, James. I think, you have to give a lot of credit to the likes of, Sean Gares and Blade. If they are, hitting a site repeatedly, you do need to read into that. They're going to, it'd be quite interesting to see if they do have a play that looks exactly like the B setups, but actually is an A play. I guess that's something that we need to look forward to. But maybe it won't come. Maybe that's actually part of the plan.
Maybe we are ahead of our time then.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the fact that is like that's a double bluff, isn't it? If you're playing against Sean Gares, that's the kind of level you're thinking about, honestly.
Planting the seed of doubt. Well did it with the AWP, and there is nothing around him. Looks like he's going to go for a fast connector peek. And he does, but he misses the shot. Missed that one there. And now he's going to rotate his AWP entirely. Seized almost, but not quite, has something. They've got no utility to really work with, but he will be denied. Now well did it, rotating towards the B bomb site with that AWP. The smoke lands on the balcony. A lack of smoke there has caused Misfits problems in previous rounds, but they'll make sure to deny that option. But well did it's already on the low ground. The bomb's been dropped now, 4 versus 4. Gun too far away to be collected by the CT side. And now the cavalry's here to clean things out.
And this is cool from Misfits so far. They have actually mixed up their anti-eco play quite a lot, and this is one of the sort of pure B round anti-eco plays that we've seen. We've seen them go up A long previously as well. But again, thinking about the B plays, one thing that's really cool is that sewers is a really important part of the map. It basically controls a lot of the information that's easy to get for CTs. If the CT side doesn't know what's happening, well, they can either take sewers early into the rounds to then just have it and force the Ts to retake it, maybe get some frags there, or they can take it with some flashes later into the round to decide whether or not it's going to be an A or a B player or not, and then cheat a player over. But if you as a T side always have the sewers position, you eliminate that possibility from the CTs and give them this option. If you want to get map control, or information, you have to play towards A, or you have to try to fight us for sewers control. And that is a risk you don't want to take early round, because if you lose a player early round as the CT side, it's just too much. It's just too much of a disadvantage. So I love that Misfits are going for that as their default so far. I think you can build so much from it.
FlipSid on the buy once again. Seized, having to pull out the French gun in order to get some utility, some much needed utility. A smoke grenade, high explosive as well. But will it be enough for him? And will it help FlipSid in this round? Well, that it's still on the sniper rifle. That should be important. Only good for 3 kills so far in 8 rounds, though. And that does tell a story more of the entire CT experience of FlipSid, rather than just the player himself. See what it's forcing FlipSid into. Unfavorable pushes through Monster. That's an enormous gamble from them. No flashbangs, no warning, no nothing. They just walked into their doom. They walked the plank. They're in the sea.
Yeah. And that's actually, it goes back to your point, James. Like, so many times Misfits have taken fast control towards B. This is a round where they've actually changed their pace to be very slow. And immediately FlipSid are thinking, oh God, they're actually making a play towards A. We have to go for a push. Perhaps that is the thinking there. And if it is, well, Misfits, they have themselves a 5v3.
Yeah, and you can, to me, that says that Blade is kind of flustered with the situation, because more than one team have different type of CT executes to push through Monster with flashes and so on. But they just walked. They just had a look, took a massive gamble, and that may have lost them the round. And then what next? What comes of that? Waylander could have been 2, might have been 3, but was only 1. That's some info, but I don't know how much you can really do with that. That Molotov has not gone the way it was planned. Nice team flash to allow his teammate to make their way through, make his way through Monster, and that's the B bomb site taken. Misfits looking coordinated at the moment.
Yeah, they're looking really good, honestly. I love their openings so far. It's been really, really cool to see. And the responses from FlipSid have not yet sort of challenged them. Right now, this is really cool from also the perspective that, you know, you might get to see sort of a perfect game from Misfits insofar as all their game plans come together. Okay, maybe, you know, some execution here, maybe they miss some frags here or there, but the execution, they're in a position where they're conditioning their opponents, where they have the economy to take risks. You know, they can lose some rounds, it's fine. And so we're seeing sort of the best approach from them that they have in their playbook. And right now, FlipSid, again, we talked about how much you can assert yourselves at the CT side on this map. But right now, FlipSid, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, James, but I don't feel as though FlipSid have really asserted themselves at all on the map so far.
No, they have been subject to the will of Misfits, which has been imposed on them in almost every round. 8-1, and we watch the buy around the saved weapons. 4 players of rifles so far. C's maybe picking something up off the floor. And off they go.
Okay, so it looks like we might get some of the nades that look like a Suez take, but it's a solo effort from Amanek. And that's really cool here. Now, see how this actually works. He's going to go for the pulse flash through the smoke there to, again, sort of make it look like his team is trying to work towards Suez. But look at how the things have actually switched up here. Misfits are going for a run-up A-Long. A-Long is probably the first position you give up if you want to cheat players towards B. So again, this is the mastermind of Sean Gares at work, and they should get into the A site here.
Waylander has made his way back. Well, then it's on the rotation. There are trades going on the A side. Blaze trying to pick the right time to flank. It was being waited for, but Sean Gares is there to trade. C still in the B bomb site, and Moldedet and Markloff are in the back as the bomb gets planted. Smokes are down, and there is still a Molotov and a smoke for Misfits, so they can make this really hard for FlipSid if FlipSid can't get a frag soon. Making their way out towards the truck. Has anyone been spotted just yet?
3v3, great chance here for FlipSid to make this retake work. Oh, that's a big frag through the smoke. Markloff goes huge. Sean Gares looking to lead by example. 1 can't get the second, though, very low, but it's the Orpa Shazam that has to do it. Pistol comes out, that's perfect. The spray through the smoke just barely gets it. Misfits win the round, and oh man, that was so crushing for FlipSid to lose that one. And again, the fact that Misfits are conditioning FlipSid into playing Connector and Suez early into the round and then running up A-Long, James, I absolutely adore that.
Nice presence of mind from Shazam towards the end there, who was prone to making a lot of errors in the earlier parts of his career, but you see him spamming the P250, but then he suddenly slows down because he knows that if he respects the pistol, he will get the kill. But if you spam it too fast, the bullets will go all over the place. So a nice adjustment there to stop the smoke diffuse from coming in. Desperate times for FlipSid, and they get even worse. Pistols, Kevlar here and there, not much to offer, but the bullets from the gun. But first, they will offer their faces to Sick.
And that's the round. The bomb will be planted. There's 5 players on the B bomb site. There's no retake value or potential out of what FlipSid are currently carrying. And yeah, again, it's so cool to see. And if you look at it, basically they threw the same nades as when it's just Amanek pressuring by himself, throwing the Molotov and the smokes, you know, in towards the Suez position. But instead the entire team rushes with it. So again, one big thing about, you know, Counter-Strike and constructing T-sides and strategies is to make something as obscure as possible, and the way that you do that is by having basically an opening into the round which can fork out in as many different ways as possible, but sort of suggest one thing. And that's what Misfits have been doing pretty effectively so far in this game. And this could be a pretty monstrous half, James, if things continue this way. FlipSid need to stop the bleeding right now.
It's not so much of a like a band-aid or something. It's like you've lost
like
a leg.
Chop off the arm. Just chop it off.
You've lost the leg, and there's a belt. There's a belt around the leg, trying to hold the rest of the body together. That's what it's like at the moment. Is it fatal or not? Time will tell. 4 rounds to fight for in this half. Back on a goodbye, FlipSid. Well, that it only has 1 grenade, but who cares? He has a flashbang, which can be important. AWPers do need to flash for their team sometimes, but apart from that, you just want him to be AWPing. But again, kills must be delivered now.
It's cool to see, you know, Sig going in first most of the time, but you see Devaduvek actually finding his way in front of him for this opening through connector. And again, so many rounds Misfits have set up the B plays and try to condition FlipSid to go into connector. This time they clear connector. FlipSid did not go for it, and now they actually fork out in towards an A play, or at least that's what it looks like. They have not left anyone in the sewers so far. FlipSid, it would bode very well for them to actually try to make a pop flash play in the next 15 seconds into sewers to try to just confirm what's going on right now, because you can't allow Misfits to walk up onto the site and execute off of Shazam to get freebies. Oh, Waylander tries to get out of there. It's Blade who's able to take down Sick, who tried to cut off Waylander's path. So right now, FlipSid are doing a decent job, but Misfits strike back.
AK is prevailing on the A site ultimately. C's moving into the truck area, but he's too exposed. He has no cover. That leaves Markaloff alone. 1 versus 3. They've lost too many rounds. He surely has to go for it. The nade lands perfectly, but no kill for him. Avoids the flashbang. He's got information on where 2 players are. Doesn't know where the 3rd one is. So much happening, so much action so quickly. Trying to avoid getting trade fragged. How many bullets does he have left? 7 in the magazine before he needs to reload. That flashbang's absolutely perfect. That kills a few seconds more. He doesn't have a defuse kit. I don't know if there's one on the map, but Shazam will put him out of his misery. A nice play from Misfits, but I have to also give them credit to the way they set that up. The coordination was good. The Molotovs outside the toilets, forcing the CTs away from the positions they usually abuse, but then credit to Waylander for moving back in afterwards with the smoke that was down around the toilet door, managing to get something out of it, but clearly not enough. It's 11-1.
Oh yeah, it's you know, I was thinking to myself, you know, Markaloff, he looks so sharp, so good, but he doesn't get any spots to play from, because Misfits are just playing such a good strategic game so far that it's always such a big disadvantage, and you're always playing from behind, tactically as well as strategically. Shazam will whiff that one, but it doesn't matter too much. I mean, they're playing against pistols here, and right now what we see is just a very passive setup. This creates a spot where they can't get surprised early into the round, and you can sort of work out what the CTs are trying to do. And you see a couple players that gives you some information where maybe other players will be playing, and there is a trade there in connector, but again, it should be fine. Misfits now, like they're saying, all right, it's time to go together, but the CZ is good for 2, and all of a sudden, things get very hairy, James.
Yeah, the bomb's been spotted, and Shazam doesn't have enough cover to try and get rid of those guns. Also, you don't really want to be taking such risks when you are carrying the bomb. I like Dev's angle in connector, just keeping an eye on anybody pushing the door. For those of you at home, it can be really handy to have somebody there when you've got a teammate making their way into short B, so they can focus on the B bomb site and they don't get pinched from connector. Very important route. Speaking of important, Wilder is now pushing to, well, he's picked up an AK, but also he's seeing that it's unlikely Misfits are heading towards the A site. Markaloff and C's already in B can continue to wait. The time is running low for Misfits, so advantages are growing for FlipSid, although they've picked the right entrance, Misfits. Will he look towards short Shazam? He will smoke it off. Seas has a lot to do here. Shazam's in the angle at perfect timing, and now they can focus on the smoke. Markelov stuck there. Maybe this will be round number 12 for Misfits.
It's looking pretty good, but well that it will have a very nice shot there onto Shazam, but the problem is, where is Amanek? Is he in the water? Is he playing the position towards the barrels? Those are the two most likely ones. He couldn't really put up to jungle. Looks like it's a wrong guess. Well, it suspected the water, and Amanek gets himself both with the spray. That is lovely stuff from him. And as you said, James, that's number 12, and it seems like everything is just going to plan for Misfits. Even when stuff goes wrong, they manage to save it and make good mid-round calls and back it up with the skill. And I think actually, when Sick was pushing up A long, I don't think there was a pop flash from Misfits. That's something you would normally see, because it's just getting out that first choke point. That's the hard thing about taking A long. And they did, Waylander punish them, but again, they recover so well.
12-1. Not much else to say at this point.
I thought the scores would be like this for the last game, and this would have been a close.
Molotov flying towards short B to stop the CTs advancing towards short B, and Misfits are back to Old Faithful all over the B bomb site. Flashbangs are perfect once again. Markelov gets his face ripped off. Sees around a barrel position, trying to go for the spray transfer. The frags will go back and forth, but again, it's Misfits 3 versus 2, planting the bomb.
Yeah, it's looking really good for them, but lots of grenades here for the FlipSid members. Maybe it's going to be only singular if Waylander's push doesn't go too well. Obviously, Waylander is going to be trying to get supporting fire from the high ground. Oh, that's a good one there from Waylander. Able to get Sean Gares down by the water. That will allow them to push further forwards at a pretty decent timing. Shazam, though, able to connect his shot now. Welded it with everything to do with that AWP. It's not an easy situation. Shazam, though, completely misreading the position, but that's completely fine. The time is just not there for Welded it to really make a go of this. And Misfits have done it again. There's been quite a few rounds where it's gone down to the last man, but overall their money is pretty ridiculous.
I would love to see HLTV stats on successful flashbangs from Misfits in this match, because they have been so perfect that they've got to be high. FlipSid have been blind so much. Can't aim if you can't see. 13-1. Great start from Misfits, but never assume the match is over until it actually is. Comebacks are always possible, but it's easier when you've got more than one round.
Yeah, that's very true. And you see Amanek doing the Amanek things. Oh, that is really strong there from Amanek. I don't think he ever expected to get a double out of that, but all of a sudden, if there's any hope here for FlipSid in this round, it's been absolutely crushed in the opening seconds, as Markelov is now left alone once again in a spot that feels simply impossible for players to try to find. Has to work through choke points, has to work through smokes, has to work through Molotovs and flashbangs and setups and crossfires, and it's just not a good life for Markelov right now. And Amanek, he's going to finish things off strong there with the third kill of the round for him. Wow. And for me, that's a pretty quiet 17 frags from Devaduvek, and I think it really just goes to show that this was not a game about individual skill from Misfits. This was about their strategy, their tactics, and how it all came together under their team play and shot calling.
What is to come of the second half, which will soon begin? Pause for the time being. 14-1 in favor of Misfits. They are all up in this.
What we see here on this, James? Because remember, Sean Gares is more of a fan of the utility on pistols.
Did you say, will we see head armors?
I mean Kevlars. I don't know why I said that. At least I'm not saying head Kev like Vendetta. I said that a couple times. I don't know why, because it makes no sense to me. I never said it, but ever since hearing Vendetta say head Kev, I started saying it once or twice. It's bad influence. 4
Kevlar for Misfits. Okay. I like that. You know, it's nice to see people thinking out loud. Like when Sean was wondering the true value of Kevlar in a pistol round versus other options, but it's all Kevlar now. I mean, they've got the Sick has a very good spawn to peek towards the fountain area, so interested to see if he will opt for that.
Yeah, and also I think, you know, since the point when I mean, it was quite a long time when Sean, you know, made that video about that subject. I mean, the pistols have changed since then, and either way, we're going to see I think something pretty interesting. You know, you can always do some funky stuff on this map. Sometimes teams just like to play it simple though, so they don't, you know, read into it too far and take too many big risks, and just play like a simple retake setup on the easier to retake bomb site, which in this case would be having, you know, a player or two spotting towards B, but having the main defense sort of just sat on the A bomb site, which also can work out quite well because you've got really good ranges to play with on the A bomb site. So if they do just go for an attack there, it can be quite difficult for the Ts to close the distance with, you know, without utility.
Here we go. 7 seconds until launch. And it seems that FlipSid might be tied to the rocket on the outside. Blade, Molotov, and a smoke. Well did it, smoke and 2 flashes. Will this be for the B bomb site? Only C's is heading towards B. Dev and Sean Gares will be at the back of the B bomb site, and it's Shazam to take the first aggression. It's an interesting setup. They're not really showing their whole hand here, Misfits. They've got players hugging the wall at the moment. Amanek keeping an eye on Connector, so what is the game? Well, that it gets close enough to one shot with the Glock. What else can be done here? Six got to be careful because he will be shot from his left soon. Amanek's being popped off as well. Is there still a chance if a FlipSid?
I think Amanek tried to save him there. Didn't quite work out. Misfits doing a lot, well, trying to do a lot here, but they are suffering heavy casualties. Just Devaduvek left in this situation. He's going to be coming in from, well, from B, and that's not really very fun considering that you have to try to make your way through 2 choke points, and there's 4 players to watch 2 choke points. Quick maths, James, that's not very favorable for Devaduvek.
I don't know if they've located him yet though, so he could potentially still come from Connector or Long, which is less likely. You see Blade looking towards the Connector position. Nobody really focusing on Long, but he doesn't have time for that. Sees one player, and now it's a 4 versus 1, well and truly. So what did he choose to do? It seems he wants to save his Kevlar in this situation, but he needs to dance around so many weapons. He's got his knife out to try and run faster, but he is being peppered, but will he beat a stake? He'll die to the bomb ultimately, but at least there was no extra money for FlipSid.
And this has got, I mean, he got an extra kill there. So that's, what would you do with that extra $300, James?
Buy a smoke grenade, perhaps? It depends on the goals of the team, Dan. That's the question.
Oh, wow.
Depends on the goals of the team.
Well, we got 2 MAC-10s and MP7, 3 MAC-10s, MP7 from FlipSid. You'd love to see that. That's got a B play written all over it, but we'll see if they decide to go for that. Looks like they won't. Maybe looking to go for some of the longer ranges here. Go through the toilets. We'll see. They're actually wrapping through Connector as well. The SMG is obviously, the strength of those in rounds like this is just being able to run and gun, which is very powerful, especially when you're up against pistols. MAC-10 doing some work early on. As the engagements are taken by Misfits, though, they don't find all too much just yet. Just a single frag. And it looks like that may be it. Devaduvek on the B site, and he's got someone hot on his heels here. Does he realize he's actually able to circle around the pillar? And, well, C's is not having any of that. And that will be just 1 frag from Misfits.
Yeah, not as big an investment as you might normally see from Misfits. They know that what they have to do in terms of numbers is quite minimal, so they'll just keep the money, win those key rounds, and then have some afternoon tea perhaps. Maybe some shrimps and grits.
I was about to say, that's probably a bit more...
As we are in the south.
Yeah. I don't know if you brought your tea set, James. I know you have quite a fancy tea set.
Yeah, but I don't have a travel tea set.
You should.
It stays at home.
That's disappointing. Come on, James. You've got to step up your game.
I'll bear that in mind.
Can't profess to be a tea connoisseur if you don't have a travel tea set.
I shall mark it for review.
Put that in your diary. Well, it's another anti-eco type situation, and there's no reason to really doubt FlipSid here. No Kevlar to speak of, no helmets to speak of, and with MAC-10s all abounds, can't really look to Misfits to be able to accomplish too much here, but they'll do whatever they can. Any bit of money is good. Because as you said, you know, right now their main objective is maximizing the amount of buy rounds that they have and making sure that those buy rounds are full buy rounds. All the nades, the AWP if you want it, all the rifles, and so on. That's all they care about. 2 rounds after all. So they really do not care about managing their opponent's economy, which can often be a concern. And and factor into decision making. So from that perspective, things are very simple right now for Misfits. But they earned that. They earned that because they absolutely smashed it in that first half.
Well then, it is crunch time, or maybe not if you can't eat solids. 14-4. Now the pressure rises for FlipSid. Now the brow starts to sweat.
Sweating is fine, as long as it's not raising.
The brow doesn't sweat itself, but sweat meets the brow.
The brow wicks the sweat a bit, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a
sweat
better
wicking effect.
description. Well then, a 10-round lead for the chaps in blue on the server at the very least. Armanek having a look around the fountain. There's a smoke down, but he can use and abuse that. He'll choose to fall off, however. Looking at my radar, C's making his way into short B, stopping the Molotov. You can get a smoke grenade down there as well as a CT player and bounce a flashbang in for a more aggressive play, but the Molotov is the safer option in the short term. 3 smokes down around the B bomb site, and they start to dissipate. The one-round monster is gone, and maybe C's will have a look, although I think he's just trying to tease some info as to whether an AWP is around there or not. Shazam, though, is towards long with the sniper rifle. Armanek has moved in for support around a toilet's position. That will allow 3 players to be on B if they want it. Shazam delivers the kill. Sometimes you get perfect timing where you're completely blind, but you fire your shot as you pass away, and as you fade away, rather, and you get a kill. So 5 versus 3. Misfits looking for match points.
This is good so far for Misfits. You know, they sort of falling back on the advantage. It's a big advantage. The options for FlipSid right now are pretty bad. It's hard to go into either bomb site. It's hard to make the choice. Obviously, Blade is in a position where he's getting quite forward here in A long, and they're going to try to commit to this split. But again, Misfits have the numbers. They've got a good spread of players. Will FlipSid have the relevant utility, or the required utility, to really defeat this setup? Well, Armanek with a first frag there. The trade comes out, but that's not something that's favorable. They just do not have the numbers here to sustain the losses. Waylander makes his way in, but he'll be victim to the crossfire. And Devuduvek will be rewarded the frag. It's a hard name to say sometimes, James.
I just settle for Dev sometimes.
Yeah.
If I've got places to be, I'll say Dev.
Got places to be. Well, Misfits have places to be. They are closing on the 16-4.
Yeah, this has been all Misfits. It's an album with no cameos.
Right, well, it's all on this. Misfits going to be having a decent buy, of course. FlipSid as well. They've got a good chance here. It's just Blade really with the Galil. Everyone else has AKs. You've got the AWP on too, looking to open things up here. Doing what Armanek was for Misfits. They're trying to sort of make a solo play into the sewers position. Has a pop flash from a teammate. Well caught there. And this is really good information here from C's. He's also providing presence for his team as well. And if they take control towards the A side of the map, C's surviving here. Oh my god! That's angles.
Does not deserve. Hashtag does not deserve.
Yeah, and he's look what that has done. He's actually backed away from sewers. I think he would hold that position otherwise. And the whole point of him being there is to give the option to the team to rotate back if there's a problem towards A. And also they can pull players towards A, then you capitalize on the rotation.
Yeah, Markolov's been punctured as well. 2 boys very close to red. And FlipSid have not really anything to show for it. Dev is aggressive towards short B now. Blade's been jump peeking, looking for information he's found. And that shot was not far off the mark, but Sean Gez has been taken down. Shazam will trade Waylander, looking for more frags, moving towards long. He's got a nice angle now, almost guarantees a kill. 25 seconds as well. He's a big problem for FlipSid.
And one of the 2 smokes is used to try to deal with that problem. There's a gap, though. Will Shazam find something? Yes, that's well did it gone. Is there a chance now? Right now, Armanek is coming in from long as well. Surely they don't predict this. 1 player emerging out of long, surely not another, but it is the reality. And the reality is a 16-4 defeat at the hands of Misfit, at the hands of the cerebral capabilities of Mr. Sean Gez. And I think that is something to talk about, James, because that is something that everybody fears when they play Misfits. When Misfits have time to prepare for a team, they always are able to perform very well because of what Sean Gez is able to prepare. And here, we saw dominance from that perspective. Great strategy,
and use of conditioning.
Two in-game leaders sat down at a chessboard. Sean Gers came, flipped the table, slapped Fools in the face, 16-4. That was a menacing start. And maybe that's put Misfits on everybody's radar